Hi everyone, my name is Courtney and welcome back to my channel. And today I'm going to be doing a reading wrap up, which is going to be my May wrap up. So first of all, a little sneak peek, but doesn't my stack look so pretty? I feel like the colors just go really well together. But yes, let us get into the books that I read in the month of May. So one of the first books that I read this month, the first book I finished this month, is going to be Assassin's Quest by Robin Hobb. This is the third and final book in the Farseer trilogy, which is the first trilogy in this Robin Hobb universe, and I believe there are 4 or 5 series to read in total. So that's a lot of books, a lot of reading, but I really enjoyed this. This took me I want to say I started reading it in late March, early April, so it took me an entire month to read, but I really enjoyed reading it at that slow pace, just enjoying a few chapters here and there. It was a really fun experience, and I'm glad I didn't rush to finish it. And yeah, I really enjoyed this. It's really different than what I think I was expecting from a 90s medieval style fantasy series. A lot of people talk about the different powers in this world, how this is a story of a young boy growing up basically alone because he is a bastard to one of the princes, which is yeah, that's what the story's about, but it's really a coming of age story about this young man who's in a really difficult position, really has to face the consequences of his actions, and whose actions causes a lot of outcome because of his political situation. It's a really intimate story almost, I would say, and it can be frustrating because of that intimacy with this young boy who's making a lot of mistakes. But yeah, this novel, it'll rip your heart out. Again, those consequences, there are real consequences for this character and what he does and what he thinks about the world. So if you want a critique of that typical chosen one, stubborn, rash kind of protagonist, I feel like this is a really good, loving depiction of that. Fitz is the very much typical hero going on his hero's journey, and Robin Hobb is able to kind of flip the script and make it really original because of how she focuses on Fitz, how she focuses in on his consequences, his actions. And so while a lot of it feels very typical big picture kind of fantasy questy stuff, because we are so close to Fitz, it just feels so unpredictable and so nuanced. And so yeah, I really liked this trilogy, and I'm excited to read the rest of Robin Hobb's universe now because of that. And then my second read of May was This Wicked Fate by Kaylin Barron. I think it was last month or the month before I read This Poison Heart, so I wanted to finish out the duology by reading this, which is the second and final book in the series. The Poison Heart is about a young girl named Bree who has magical floral powers. She can interact with plants and poisons, but also sometimes they interact with her against her will. She finds out that she is the heir to this mansion, and so her and her 2 moms decide to check it out for the summer, and a lot of stuff happens from there connected to her powers, but also Greek gods. So for this book, I rediscovered my love of audiobooks. I have a type of job now where I can listen to audiobooks sometimes, and so I don't want to abuse that too much, but I'm just saying, a lot of audiobooks are coming in the future, and this was the perfect audiobook for work. It was fun, it was an adventure story, it was a good time, and there was some depth to it, but it's a pretty short novel, has pretty big text, not a ton happens. It's basically a one and done kind of fetch quest kind of thing. And so it was the perfect fun adventure story to read while I was working, and it wasn't completely too distracting. And so I didn't like this book quite as much as The Poison Heart, but I still enjoyed it. What I really wanted from this series and from this book in particular is there's an apothecary shop in Bree's house. I wanted her to be using that more, to be interacting with the community more. There are some elements of that, but I would have loved more of it because that's what I found really enjoyable to read. This is a lot of Bree learning about her past and her history and stuff, and I just would have liked a little bit more of her learning about her powers and things in an apothecary type setting. I think that would have made it a little more fleshed out if we had more of those gardening kind of scenes between her and the different characters, gardening and apothecary work. And then the other thing about this novel is that the love interest is one of those not immortal beings, but I guess yeah, she's an immortal being and she's been around for, I want to say, couple hundred years maybe. And one of the things about this series is that the parents are really involved in Bree's life, which I really love, and they're very conscious of her behavior and the danger she's getting into. And so for them not to even kind of side eye Bree's relationship with this couple 100-year-old being, I was really, the parents aren't going to say anything about that, but they'll say stuff about, like, the other stuff. And, like, don't get me wrong, I liked the love interest a lot, but it just kind of felt weird that the, like, narration wasn't even, like, acknowledging that this, like, girl is, like, you know, a couple generations older than her, and, like, she very much acts like a teen, but, like, still, you know? And so, like, it's a very common trope in YA, and I don't want to, like, discount the book for having that, but it is a very, like, insta-love, very quick relationship. It was fine, just, like, not my favorite element of the story, even though I did like the characters. And then the next couple books that I read were all for a reading vlog, so I don't want to give too many of my thoughts and opinions because I will have a very long reading vlog discussing those thoughts and opinions. But basically, I read To Be Taught If Fortunate by Becky Chambers, which is a short novella. It's a standalone from the rest of her work, and it's about a crew that goes on a expedition into space to go to different planets, and this is the final Becky Chambers work that I have to read. So now I've read everything by Becky Chambers. I really like that one. I gave it like a 4.5 stars. I also read Lost in the Moment and Found by Shauna Maguire, which is the 8th book in the Wayward Children series. I like this one. For me, it's like middle of the pack. It's like right at like 4th, 5th place in the series. This series is about kids that travel into portal worlds. Odd number books take place at the Wayward School, following the kids that have come back from portal worlds, and the even books take place in those portal worlds with the kids as they're experiencing their portal world. And yeah, it's a short, fun novella series. I really enjoy this series. I really like Shauna Maguire's writing. And in case you're wondering, the 2nd, the 5th, and the 6th book are my favorite, I think. The next book I read for that reading vlog was Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blank. This is the first book in a companion adult romance series, and this is like messy adult late 20s, early 30s story. And yeah, I fell in love with this. I loved it so much. I'm giving it like a full 5 stars because it was like perfect in terms of like a romance book. It gave me everything that I needed, everything I wanted. It's fleshed out. There's messy characters. I fell in love with those messy characters. But it's basically about our main character, Delilah Green, returning to her hometown, which she hasn't in a really long time. She's got a lot of emotional baggage. She's coming back for her stepsister's wedding to be the photographer, which she really doesn't want to do. And who else should be there besides one of her stepsister's best friends, Claire, who has grown up in this town, has stayed in this town because she got pregnant at 19 and has been raising her daughter. Like, there's definitely history between them. Not like romantic history, but like, you know, there's some like baggage between them and like different elements. It's got a lot going on. It's really, really fun. Again, messy, which I really enjoy. And it just felt really real while also just being a really enjoyable, fun time. I want to read this entire series. So yeah, I really like that one. And then the last book I read for May was The Light from Uncommon Stars by Rika Aoki. This is sci-fi fantasy, and I would say it falls a little bit into like the literary, speculative, kind of weird fantasy sci-fi genre. It's definitely a blending of sci-fi fantasy. The tagline of this is Good Omens meets The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, and I feel like that's like the perfect vibe of this book. Basically, it's about a violin teacher who has made a deal with the devil and she has to sacrifice 7 souls. She's on to her last one. She meets this young trans girl named Katrina who's going through a lot of stuff. Katrina is going to be her 7th soul, her ticket to getting out of the hell situation. And the main character, Suzuki, the one that has to, you know, sacrifice 7 souls to the devil, gets involved with a donut shop woman who just happens to be a space alien. So, like, yeah, there's a lot going on. It's really weird, really, really fun, really enjoyable. It's got that found family, slow character-driven type story vibes, so if that's what you're looking for, yes, pick this up. It was great, really enjoyable. Like 4.25 stars is where I'm at right now, but this is also a standalone, so yeah. I know that's great for the people that can't do commitment like myself. But yeah, I have more thoughts and opinions coming for those 4 books at the end in my reading vlog. And also, it is a themed reading vlog, so there is a reason why I'm reading those books. So definitely look forward to checking out that reasoning, I guess. But yeah, those were all the books that I read in May. It's a little bit early, so I might end up reading some manga before the end of the month. But I have a June TBR video coming soon, so definitely look forward to that. But yes, those were all the books that I read in May. Honestly, a really great reading month. Everything was really, really fun. In terms of enjoyment, I think we're looking at this is a stack. This obviously was like solid, good, but like not my favorite. Again, another solid, good, a little bit higher, but you know, still really good, really great, probably like a perfect romance. So just a really good month of reading. Nothing that I hated, nothing that I slogged through. But yeah, let me know what you read in the month of May. I would love to know. And of course, the algorithm is not a friend to small creators on YouTube, so any comments, likes, subscribes is very much appreciated here. But thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys later, and happy reading!